Hi, this is Chris here from Woodman Spirit Channel. I hope everyone's enjoying the good summer weather at the moment. It's third week in May here and it's beautiful. Probably 28 degrees today, light breeze, nice and cool amongst the trees but quite hot out in the sun. I just wanted to throw out a little video today about, I've spoken in one of my videos before about the Black Prince axe. Now these are a very popular axe, a very good quality axe, and as many of you will know by watching my previous videos, this had a terribly warped handle on it, so I got round to cutting it off yesterday, and I've driven out the old haft and cut myself in the process, as I usually do. But the interesting thing about this axe is it's yes, it's true temper Black Prince. See if I can catch the light on here good for you. But it also, on the other side, says Welland Vale. Now Welland Vale, according to what I've been told, is a Canadian company. So this axe, I believe, was made while the Black Prince axe was still, the axe was made in Canada by Welland Vale, but also it's showing that the future of the brand is moving over to true temper Black Prince. They're seen as a good quality axe. This one's not been damaged too much. It has a slight nick on the edge there. I don't know if you can see it or not. Yeah, just about there. But that'll easy work out, and the edge is of course quite sharp enough for me to cut myself on, so it's all part of the deal. And I was lucky to find a decent haft in it was the Restore, which is Habitat for Humanity. I mean, axe hafts, as you've probably gathered from my conversations and your own experience, are getting pretty expensive, but I couldn't argue with the price on this one. This was $5, so try and buy an axe haft any good for $5 now. So I've just done a little bit of work on here with a rasp and some 40 grit abrasive belt, sanding belt, so that I've got a pretty good fit. And I want to talk over some of the finer details of hafting axes. I've been doing it probably for about 45 years or more now, so I've learned some decent tricks. One thing that you find with a lot of axes is that in the process of knocking heads back on or removing them, people beat along the area around the eye with a hammer, and of course the hammer face is harder steel than around the eye of the axe. Therefore you often get at the very least some burring over to the inside and to the outside, but also in bad occasions with some axes I've even seen cracks down here. So I always knock mine off with a mallet, and knock them on with a mallet as well, as you'll see in a moment. So I usually take a half round file and I file out the eye, so I don't know if you can see in there, but because I'm in the shade here, but you can see I've taken the burr off anyway. And the reason I do this is that if you leave the burr on, when you're driving the haft into the eye, it acts almost as a gouge or a scraper, and it will scrape into the surface of your haft, which in one way sounds okay, but the thing is, you know, you may not be able to drive it on far enough. So and it's imperative that you get a really close fit. You've got to have it, I would say, at the very least 3/4 of the wood that goes inside the eye has to have contact with the steel inside of the axe eye. Often you'll find there's a lot of scale in inside the eye of an axe. Again, I use the half round file to take that out, and sometimes I'll even immerse the axe head in industrial strength white vinegar for a couple of days just to dissolve the rust off it, and then polish it up on the inside a bit with abrasive paper on the end of a stick, so I get a nice clean finish. This is the whole thing. I mean, if you get crusty scale inside here, it's just something else to under hard use to come loose, so I like it nice and clean inside there. The other thing is, which I think is quite important, is often when you buy a replacement haft, you'll find the kerf is just a very narrow slot in there, and as you slide the haft of the axe into the eye, it very quickly closes up completely, which means that the average wedge won't drive very far in before the whole thing is really tight. What you want is you want the wedge going in 2/3 of the depth of the kerf. So here, as you can see, that's at least 2/3 there anyway. And the other thing is, you know, once I've opened this out with a handsaw, I'll probably double the width of that kerf. I also spend a bit of time thinning down this wedge. Now this wedge is about 1/3 thinner than the average store-bought wedge. Not that there's anything wrong with those, but we're playing with close tolerances here. So as you can see, that is a nice slim wedge, and I also bevel off every edge on every corner and even on the top there, because what I don't want as I'm driving it in is for the wedge to disintegrate. Sometimes they do, but if you spend plenty of time prepping the end of the haft and the kerf and the wedge, you'll end up with a very close fit, and that's what you're looking for. And often with double bit axes, I've seen people mount them upside down, and sometimes you find that on one side of the axe head there is a more pronounced concave curve than on the other, but as it happens on this one, it's equal. So what I'll do is I'll fit this the same as it was on the original haft that I took off. So let's try this out. Goes in. Some people like them to go in really loose. Yeah, I don't think there's anything terribly wrong with that, but I like them to be a fairly snug fit, but not to have to pound them in too much, because I already noticed that there's a slight crack on the end of here. If you can see it. Yeah, there, look. So I'll have to be very careful. I mean, there's a chance that's going to split off, but I'll have to glue it on if it does. But it's just because this is an old haft, it's hickory and it's dried out, and if I have a criticism of hickory is that whereas it's a very high, strong tensile strength, it also, when it starts to spring, can split more or less from one end to the other. I found this out a lot with wood splitting mauls, more so than axes, because they take a heck of a beating, right? So I'm just going to try this on. So I'm using this is a leather hammer. I actually have a bigger one somewhere, but I couldn't find it today, so I'll just do my best with this one. Well, so as you can see there, this is still a little tight, so it might mean I have to take it off and do a little bit more work on it, but I'll be back shortly and show you the results. So we are ready, hopefully for the final fitting. Just rubbing it down with this very coarse grit paper off a sanding belt. Make sure I've got it on the right way. Yep. So this, as you can see, it's just about a push fit. A slight tap, I think it'll go right on. Yeah, so trial and error, still putting a little shaving up on here, which is a good sign, shaving here, which means it's as it bottoms out it's getting really tight, and you've got a little bit of slack around the end of the aft there, sufficient kerf open to put the wedge in. So the next step is going to be to put a solution of linseed oil, turpentine and pine tar into the kerf, which will all help the adhesion of the wedge, and it'll also stop water permeating into the end grain too. So here we have the pine tar, which many of you have seen before and probably use. What I do with the wedge is just give it a good dunk in the can. There you go. Just smear it around with your finger so it sucks in on all surfaces. There you go. Smells great. And at first what I'm going to do is just put this in the kerf, but I'm not going to drive it in too tight because I have to pound the haft on a little bit further yet. So let's put that in loosely, fits like a glove. So it's really rolling the kerf up on there. Sorry, the little shavings around the edge of the axe head as it comes down. And already you can see it's getting tighter, and we've got about 3/8 of an inch of wedge sticking out there, which we'll leave on until we've driven the wedge further down. Yeah, that's what you're looking for, is those shavings. I mean, you should never have a step, and you often see shop bought shafts have a step in here. That's not good, because inevitably when they set in like that, they'll, the wood shrinks or whatever, you can't drive it down any further. So you need a nice slim tapered entry into the eye. Make sure it's on square, that's the other thing. Nothing worse than an axe that is pitched either back or forwards or twisted. When I put this in the wood, well, you can probably see, hang on, hoping you can. Yeah, There you go. She's centered nicely. So that's about it. Just tap the wedge in a little. That should go in there real deep. So yeah, what I would recommend as well, for those of you who've not yet done it, is to look up Booking Billy Ray Smith's YouTube channel. Like me, he's an axe fanatic, but he's also well into the McCullough chainsaws and other chainsaws, and he falls trees for a living, tops trees. Used to sell firewood for a living, so he's a guy with a lot of experience, and he's just such a positive and great guy to have any dealings with. So, in addition to what I know, I would suggest you go on to Booking Billy Ray Smith's channel. And yeah, thanks for joining me, and more videos to come in the next week. Thank you. Mosquitoes, I just love them. Must have about 20 zoning around my head right now. Yeah, I'll have to, next time out, I'll have to put some repellent on. I'll give a little talk about what I think is a good repellent. So yeah, here we are, the Welland Vale, True Temper Black Prince, nice and tightly hafted. Let's just try her out on this 6-inch log here. Just a minute. There you go. So it throws out some good chips. Needs a bit of sharpening though. I've never sharpened it since I've had it anyway. And it has a snick in the blade too. So we'll try her again next time. Thanks for watching. and hopefully next time we'll have a look at the new JB Stolar axe. Bye for now. Look forward to your comments. Please subscribe.